Hey, morning. Hooks my first day off. There's a quote that comes to mind. It is hard times create strong men. Those strong men go on to create good times, prosperity, ease, luxury. And then those good times that the strong men created, they go on to produce weak men. And those weak men, because they're not handling their business, they go on to create hard times, ever-ending cycle. What I want to talk about real quickly is that phrase and how it relates to me. And so you can get a glimpse of it. A couple of you, this might apply to you. And you might find some benefit for some things that I kind of discovered. And hopefully you apply it to this life. One of the main things that I learned is that I am a weak man. And I got to purposely, on purpose, 100%, introduce hard times into my life. And let me unpack that, tell you what it's all about. Hey, first off, I heard that they did this one experiment. Don't know if this is true, where they had like a biodome, just a huge dome where you can grow plants and stuff, like a big greenhouse, and it's huge. So then they would plant, part of the plants they put in there were trees, and the trees they would grow in there. They'd look all beautiful on the surface. They would grow huge trees, and then when they got so big, they would start just falling over. It had the scientists kind of baffled a little bit, like, what the fuck's going on? Sorry about the language. What the hell is going on? You know? Why are these trees in this perfect environment where everything is given to them? Food, sunlight, good temperature. Why are they falling over like this? They come to find out that the problem was there was no wind. There was no stress added to that tree. So thus out in the wild, when trees grow up and the wind hits it, that stress that's put on that tree, that starts strengthening the root system. And that root system, because of that wind, that hardship, it spreads out and it gets stronger. It's able to hold that tree up as a response to that wind. In the biodome, they didn't have any wind. So that tree just experienced comfort, goodness, no stress whatsoever. It's the same thing for people. I was just listening to a talk by Ronin Tactical. Very good talk. Excellent talk. I think it was labeled The Why. I understand, what the why is all about, and I totally get that. Yeah, very powerful point. But my biggest takeaway from that was that the hardship, my biggest takeaway was hard times create strong men. And now going to my life. I've grown up in a biodome, so to speak. Middle class America, never had a want for anything. I mean, hell, family would take, vacations to like Cancun, Jamaica every freaking year. And, my parents, they viewed that as doing the best for your children. I think a lot of, and as I was a parent, I did the same freaking thing, man. I viewed the best was providing shit for my kids that maybe, well, I couldn't say that I didn't have because I had all that shit growing up. Vacations, never had to worry about food, didn't have to worry about, danger in my environment where I live. I didn't have any stress. The biggest stress I had was fucking peer pressure, as a young kid trying to fit in and shit. The racial aspect, being raised as a black dude, white neighborhood and all that. But anyways, so that was most stress I had. And then later on in life, I was like that tree, had grown up to be an adult. And then the stress that I encounter, one I specifically think of is military. Military is very easy to try to do some bullshit, which now I could do that shit with flying colors. Drill instructor training. Failed in that shit. And why did I fail in this shit? Is that because I didn't have the capabilities? No, because my structure was not built, because I never encountered the hardship that I did during that training. A lot of motherfuckers could look at that same fucking training and they could be like, this should be easy. And I'm of the opinion that's because they have stronger root structure than I did at the time. It's not because that person's either a better person. Keep this in mind. Check this out. Anytime you have folks that aren't able to handle something that you think it isn't shit, I wouldn't judge that person too harshly. I remember maybe they had some shit in that happened in their life that built strength into them. Or maybe they're like that tree that was in the biodome that was grown up and through no fault of its own was not exposed to wind growing up. They never had a strong structure built into them because they had the parents that sought to do nothing but to cuddle them, So thus they become an adult that's not prepared to deal with hardships. So I realized that for my life. Had a lot of stuff that I was raised pretty freaking weak because all that shit was provided for me. So I realize now that I gotta purposely step into hardship because that's the only place that I will grow. Hell, even if I had hardship as an adult, I'd still want to step into hardship because that's the only place that we grow. That's the only place that we get stronger. There's a Stoic principle. Side note, there's a Stoic principle that has called voluntary discomfort. And you can practice that however, whatever makes sense to you, but it might be one day a week, sleep on the floor, no covers. Stoics would do things like in the past, wear uncomfortable clothes, like maybe wool that would scratch them and shit, and go that whole day with them uncomfortable clothes on. It was this idea that you purposely put yourself into discomfort to strengthen you, to make you stronger, bolster you up. So thus, when you have other stressors being a human being is not about good times. This stuff that we enjoyed here in America, this prosperity, this luxury, so on and so forth, not having to worry about our food, that's an anomaly in the world, man. And most human history is tooth, fang, and claw. It's war, conquest, battling to survive, that kind of thing. So basically, the Stoics would purposely put themselves into a situation of discomfort because they realize hardship is coming. That is really a part of life. I like that one quote from that Stoic talk here recently, where it talks about life is more like a warfare and a journey far from home, or that life is like a cold and broken hallelujah. There's a lot of good in your life, a lot of things to enjoy, but guess what? Hardship is a inevitability, and if you're not prepared for it, it's going to topple your tree over. You got to develop roots. So I encourage you guys, if you are anything like me, had a decent upbringing, and even if you're not like me, if you just want to grow stronger, I would purposely push yourself into situations that people are, adverse to act like a little bitch in. For example, some people get all fucking kind of bent out of shape if they got to work on like a holiday. But tell that shit to a military member that's been deployed. You got to work on your holiday this year, So they're not going to have a fucking cow because that's modus operandi. They've done that shit ever since they were in the military. Getting deployed over here, over there, spending Thanksgiving over there. That ain't shit. Have to work on my holiday. Don't get the whole fucking week off or whatever. That ain't shit to them. And it's not because they're better. It's because their upbringing, their life experience had taught them. That's really not something to worry about. I'm more worried about this shit way up here. That's like a low level stressor. I'm already stronger than that shit. I'm up here now. So, just case in point. But I encourage you guys to figure out some kind of voluntary discomfort to step into, whether that's going to the gym. Not going to the gym just because, I love it, it's fun. No, wake up early in the fucking morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and do it. Not because it's fun, but because you need to do it to get yourself stronger. And plus, you want to do some hardship training. Do hard things. Step into it. David Goggins, check him out. Man, he constantly preaches that thing over and over. You need to seek out and fucking do hard things. Because that's the only place you're going to grow, doing hard things. But that's about all I got. My ramblings. But man, I realize that I'm weak. And the more I step into hard things, the stronger my root system is going to be. I'm not that motherfucker I used to be. Thank God for all of my hardships in life. Divorce, death of family members, so on and so forth. Thank God for it all. Because that's what's making me stronger. Peace out. Serve your king. God bless. Happy Christmas.